We work mainly with technology, bioscience businesses, but any innovation-based business is of great interest to us. And what we offer is four things. Marketing performance consulting, and we have 3 levels of that. It's easy for us to say is a great starter for people who are maybe entrepreneurial startups or smaller organizations. That's really helping you to understand and articulate. And it takes you through the first phases. Make It Great is doing the full plan, and Keep It Great is retainer consulting, where we keep working with you. We're very much interested in developing marketing education, including on the web, because we think we want to get that message out worldwide. And we're also interested in business fiction. In other words, writing stories that will explain something in a way that's interesting and generally fascinating. Now, I'm sorry if I disappoint anybody here, but Seeker and Surfswell don't exist. We just wrote the story. So, because we want to make it credible, we want to make it understandable and to keep you interested. And so we're very interested in business fiction. And finally, writing, because we write words that work. I want to give some thank yous, and I've already apologized to my video friends, Josh Pies and David over here, who are doing a great job and agreed to do this for us in a very reasonable price. It's not really what they do. They're big-time directors and writers, but a great favour. Quickly, just some special thank yous. Firstly, to my wife, Cindy Roberts, over here, the Chinese lady.
Taiwanese lady.
Taiwanese lady, I'm sorry. So Cindy is, look, the entrepreneurs get all the strokes, right? The magazine articles, the profiles, and all that are all about the entrepreneurs, the big risk takers, the heroes, and stuff like that. I've been a struggling entrepreneur for some time, and most of the struggling falls back on her. And as we've grown the business and investing in the business, your support is incredible. She works 2 jobs and couldn't do it without you. Alicia Kaczynskis, thank you, Alicia, because she introduced me to Laurie Dwyer about Run. She also introduced me to Bruce Peters, which was wonderful, and through Bruce, Diana, and others. And you're such a kind and thoughtful person. And Laurie, of course, wherever you are, there you are. Thank you very much for putting this together. Therese Hannigan is our design partner from Dumbwaiter Design. She's a good friend and does wonderful work. She did our branding for the new, Grow Motor is new, we used to be called I Write Marketing. So she did all that, we love it. Mark Wilson did the sketches for the Seeker Surfswell. Another good friend and a great artist and a good business artist as well as a consultant. Jill Zimmerman, I want to thank, because everyone, if you're in the marketing services business, you hope that one day you'll have a dream client, the client that is close to perfection. Well, nobody's perfect. And Jill's organisation, Jill came from Syracuse today, which I really appreciated, but Jill's organisation, MedTech, has for us been the dream client. They're truly amazing. Smart, intuitive, stretching us, pushing us harder, and getting great work out of us. And we're so grateful. Bruce Peters and Diana Pelotas, we have just a pantheon of leadership talent here. Jen Sertle is a leadership coach. Linda Piontek over in the back is a leadership coach, and Bruce is a leadership coach. They're all operating in very interesting areas. Bruce is also an entrepreneur. He started something called the CEO Hour, which is a great Friday interview show on the Washington Times radio network, and it's all about interviewing CEOs, entrepreneurs, people in business in upstate New York. Now, for you and your companies, and if you're consultants or in agencies, talk to Bruce, because it's a great opportunity to get your senior people up in front of the public. He's getting 5,000 or more downloads a week, I think, Bruce, right? It's in that range.
And going on.
Yeah, yeah. So that's the CEO Hour on iTunes or wceohq.org. And Diana Pelotas, and I tried looking where Diana is. Diana works with Bruce. She is, oh, there you are. And they do these interviews together, and they are truly amazing. They are really professional about it. I've been subject to this interrogation, and it was fun. So the wonderful, wonderful people. And finally, Jen Sertle, I've mentioned Jen's book. It's great, and Jen, since I met her a couple of months ago through my other friend Mike Lovely over here, has been an amazing advisor and has helped us develop many areas of our talent. So thank you, Jen. So thank you all very much. With that, if you have any questions or comments, please.
So do you plan on taking your design there for the surfer phone out to market?
Well, I'm thinking about it. It might be more money in it than marketing. So, yeah, I mean,
It seems like it would work.
it does seem like it would work. It seems like a great idea, and I just, yeah, I don't know. Perhaps there's somebody here who will. I don't know. Oh, the other person that I haven't mentioned, and this is a terrible thing, is Carl Phelps, who is my colleague and partner in the business. And Carl was over here, sitting right next to my wife, and Carl is an amazing young man. He came to us 2 years ago from RIT as a co-op, and he hasn't left, and don't want him to, because he's so good.
I have a question, Graeme. So sometimes marketers get into the planning mode and they plan and they plan and they plan, and it's hard to break out of that and really make something happen. Do you have some thoughts in terms of how one says, okay, we're done planning, now it's time to execute and get people around the execution of the plan?
It's a great question. Look, the worst thing you can do is to get into that mode. It sometimes happens, especially in big companies, where somebody says, oh, we really need a plan. They put a whole team together, and it takes 4 months or 6 months. And by the time they come out with this big fat plan, which is going to end up on a shelf or holding a door open, the horse is bolted. The opportunity's passed. We believe that plans should be brief and to the point. You should only put down the things that you're going to do and use them to articulate things. And what we do when we work with our clients, we say, okay, we will start doing things after 2 weeks. We need about 2 weeks to get the lay of the land and to understand. But we're not going to wait. Typically a plan for us takes 2 to 3 months. But we don't wait all that time to start doing anything. So we say, okay, we've decided we're going to do this campaign, or we're going to position this product differently. We just, working with the client, start in on that right away. And I think we did that with you, didn't we, Jill? We were doing things. So that's very important too. It's important to keep the mentality that it's not the plan. It was Dwight D. Eisenhower said, it's the planning, it's not the plan. And it's thinking about it, working it through, and being disciplined that's important, not the result. Excuse me, yes. Did you have a question? Oh, I'm sorry, no, you didn't. Bruce.
Graeme, a comment on the customer experience model. How do you collect the data, and how do you get the background and the research around that?
Yeah, good. I think when you understand needs, you're hearing a lot of that stuff, and you can test it. What we find is that good marketers sort of integrate that stuff. I mean, the people at Apple, for example, they have the courage of their convictions, if you like, in the sense that they'll hear a lot of things from people, and they won't be literal about it and say, okay, these are the important attributes of the product. They'll put them in perspective and work it out. And I think that the understanding process, if you like, the discovery process, is really important to that. But the other important part of that is just going back to them all the time. That's why Seeker were close to Bell's Beach, so they could zoom off there all the time and say, look, we're thinking of putting this colour cover on the thing. What do you think? And they get a whole lot of reactions. The people at Billabong would tell them what they were doing, what they thought of it, and they'd be responding right away. So you're building those models sort of interactively as you go. But it's just a great way to put it down there so you see it. You've got something to work with. Any other questions?
you have suggestions for the marketer who is laboring in an environment where the leader is not a marketer?
Yeah.
Purely hypothetical, it never happened.
No. I've never heard of that before, so I'll have to think.
Maybe you need that shark strong attachment.
Yeah. Look, I think that's very common. A lot of people who lead companies are engineers or financial people and from other disciplines. So I think it's their responsibility to learn to think like marketers. One thing that we learn a lot from the entrepreneurial space. And what you see, a lot of the people who start entrepreneurial companies are scientists or engineers. But the ones that succeed take on marketing and think like marketers. And it's not impossible to do that. You don't have to sort of look and feel like us to be a marketer. You just have to care about the right things. Now, in the situation where there is somebody, for example, who is from engineering, then talking to them and getting them to realize that marketing leadership is one of their responsibilities and helping them to grow into that, I think is a really good way. And if all else fails, leave and go to a company where there is somebody who understands marketing. But I'm being facetious. I do understand what you're saying, and I think that it's a perennial problem. But anyone can think like a marketer if they undertake to do that and they get help to do that. And they're not even, if they're an engineer or a financial person, it's not even like anybody saying to them, well, you better know the answer. You're the big boss, so you better know the answer, which happens a lot. So people pretend to know when they don't. If you come to them and saying, you've got to be chief marketer too, you've got to be marketing leader, and they say, well, I don't know anything about it, it's like, well, great, you don't have to pretend. Let's work on it and learn it together. Any other questions? Yes, sir.
New to a company, how do you change the status quo of a company that thinks they're great, but maybe just good?
Right. Right. Yeah.
Without offending
Yes.
those that have been doing it.
I never say marketing sucks in front of clients. But no, that's excellent. I think that what's really good is to sort of look at where you are. Sometimes external consultants can help with that to assess your condition. I think it's sometimes very hard internally if, say, if you've come to a company to run marketing and you say, well, you know, things here really stink and it's just not working. There's a sense, well, that's what you're here for, you know, so you just do it. I think you need bigger recognition than that. And one good way to do that, I think, is to work on a plan with the sort of process that we've discussed, the 7-step process in mind, where you can lay out step by step and say, where are we with this stuff? People are reasonable if you can show them. If you walk in and say, oh, marketing's awful, nothing's working, of course they're going to be defensive. But if you can say, look, let's look at these, we know these 7 steps are important, right? Yep. Okay, so let's look through them one by one and see where we stand on these. Gee, we seem to have some real problems in articulating. What can we do about that? So break it down. But I think consultants, and I'm not being self-serving, I think consultants in general, there are others here, are good at helping with that too. Any other questions? Well, I thank you all for your attention. It's really great.